change to here will show on there. So if we call this LX45, it's going to populate, and the trim height, it's going to do 15 feet. And then in terms of the color code and the truss type, I wanted to keep the same structure. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to think about this and talk it over with a few people, what the smartest idea is. But what I'm thinking is to just take the truss that I have, so in my library, and just add in a record format, which is, it's pretty much a version 2 of this. So here's, okay, great, I don't care. It's going to be it's pretty much just a smaller version of this. So it's called Truss Callout version 2, and it just has the GT truss, like the drop down, and then a color code field. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my truss, and I'm going to attach a record. I'm going to find my Truss Callout v2, and then all I have to do is just change it to, you know, whatever it is, and it's going to pull that information straight into the same data tag. And then we'll call this /yellow tello. And it's going to populate. I don't know of a way to make this color go by a color. That would be really cool to see. But that's kind of how I did this hanging position data tag. Obviously it needs some work and whatever. But there's that. Let's go into the options for here. So locate plugin resource manager. I'm going to do edit. And here's what I'm looking for. So let's click scale text on, and then anything that, so there's two different options here. This will mean that you can edit it in the object info palette. So if I turn this off, scale text, now when let's add this data tag again. Let's go do it this way. Let's add it to there. Great. So now, when I go into my object info palette, it's not going to give me the object of scale text. You see it's there, you see it's checked off, but it's not going to give me the option. So I can scale it much bigger or smaller. Obviously I have symmetric on, which I think I'm going to lock on as well, because I never want to scale it any other way. So I'll have the option to scale factor to make it how big I want, so I can keep it at 1 if I wanted it smaller. I think leave the option. Yeah, I left the option of using a leader line, and if you use a leader line, which leader line you want. What else here? There's not. I guess I'll get rid of that as well. I'm thinking to add a truss length field, and that I'll probably have to put into my custom data tag. So let's do this real quick. Let's add that, right? Snap that up to there. Let's make a new class, but I'm gonna have to copy this. Now let's take here, class, new class, and let's call this total length. No, I spelled that wrong. Okay, and I just did this here. There, something like that. 35, change that, and use drop shadow 60%. Okay, great. I don't care. And then I just want to make sure that this is off and the shadow's off. Great. Let's edit this, and record format. I don't want it to be that. Oh, I do want that Truss Callout. I'm gonna have to add in something here. So let's just for now put it as total length. exit tag layout, amazing, and let's find the record format, Pt2, edit, new one, let's call this total truss length, good, here, okay, and I'm gonna have to do something like this, oh, edit layout. Make this a bit smaller. Great. Put these back in that class. Total length. And then we'll go here and we'll find that record format. Good. Truss length. Total length, replace current definition. Okay. Exit, and let's delete the duplicate of that. Okay. Now total length. So when I go to here, I can either edit, the data and do it from here, or let's say I want to do it from here. So let's add another truss. I don't know of a way of doing this manually without creating a hanging position, which I don't want to do. So let's say I have 40 feet long. We'll go into this truss because it's snapped to the first one. We'll go to here and truss length 40 feet. And that's that. And again, I can turn that whole thing off from there. The other thing that I wanted to say, let's delete this for now. Let's create a new. Delete and delete. Create a viewport on a new sheet layer. Great. And you want to go to edit annotations and then find the data tag, apply it. I only want the first one. And then that's going to populate on there. And this way it's not in your design layer, it's an annotation. And that's it.